What it do, good people? Back again, right here at Mose Knows. This is Mose Knows Fantasy. We're going to touch on everything fantasy. We're going to do what we do. We're going to take a look at top performers. We're going to take a look at our start and sit and see if we want to make adjustments to our lineup. We're going to look at some things around the NFL, look at the playoff picture. Got to cover some things that we missed on Tuesday. And we got a family member in the building tonight. We'll be right back with you.
Sorry, Mose couldn't be here, but he doing the Mrs. Mosley thing right now. You know, they're out doing. They're enjoying Valentine's Day is what I was trying to say.
I got you.
Y'all the worst.
You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, but I know that. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, but I know that. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, but I know that. Mose know it all. Mose know it all. I guarantee real takes, ain't no faking that at all. If you don't know, you gon' know. Mose knows, tune into the show. Not a game, nitty gritty, ready go committee. Mose should be the CEO. Too solid, too real, too 100. I'ma keep it real when you don't. Just that real gold talk. 24 karat words. San Francisco 49er fam. Realest squad on the earth. The 5 God, number 5, taking us to 6. Young killer Trey Lance. New era, new season. Mose got you covered. Go ahead and subscribe. 2022 this year. Got a whole nother vibe. Mose know it all. Mose know it all. Mose know it all. Tune in for the vibe. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, but I know that. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, but I know that. Mose knows.
Mose knows. Mose knows. Mose knows. What's good, baby?
So crazy. That joint is so crazy. Every time I hear it, I get fired up. Listen, Mose Knows fam, if y'all in the building, if y'all know what this is, I don't even need to introduce this brother right here. I don't need to. There's no introduction needed. I actually got yelled at. I got reprimanded because he has not yet been on Mose Knows.
Ooh, did I? Yeah, I didn't yell at you, did I?
it was a slight reprimand. Now that was the teacher reprimand because you know those not your kids, so you really can't get with them like you would get with your own kid. Like you want to beat them, but you know you can't because they not your kid. It was a teacher reprimand. That's the teacher in you.
Oh man,
What's going on with you, fam?
I'm doing good, bro. I was on the show with Johnny just a few minutes ago, and I was like, everybody, tune in, Mose Knows, because he finally asked me to be on the show.
Yes, bro. It is long overdue. I don't know what took you so long, but you are here. That's all that matters. We're going to shout out a few people that's in the chat. We appreciate everybody who's tuning in. We got Cowboy Angel. We got Zay R15. We got Big Daddy 49ers. He says, let's go. Let's slap Brady let's slap Brady to retire for good. Sunday will be a Niner shutdown. We thought New Orleans got shut down. Brady will be shut down in yards and passing. Ooh, that's a tough tap. Brady got some weapons over there.
That's pretty
we got Jacqueline Knox. What's going on? We got Raphael 562 Niners in the building. We got our brother Paul Hope from across the pond. He says, "What's up, fam? It is officially Friday in the future."
How are you awake, Paul? Like I what? He must be drinking that goat fuel back there, dog.
He gotta have that goat fuel.
Yeah. Wow.
We got the Rocky Mountain Razorback. We got Slick 68 in the building. We got our brother Matthew Bishop in the building.
Yes.
Listen, gotta get to that food truck. What is it? It's Stop Rap and Roll.
Yes, sir.
Did I get that right?
And that's down in Florida.
Yup. Yes, sir.
I can't remember what part he said, but I'm sure he'll let us know again.
Absolutely. We got Crazy Juice in the building, and you know, I can't go through a show without hollering at Mrs. Mose Knows in the building.
Wait a minute. She watched your show, but don't watch mine.
No, she watched all the
I don't think
shows.
I've ever seen Mrs. Mose.
I don't think she be in the chat, but she be
She don't be in
watching.
the. Well, I gotta ask my sister, like, what's up with that? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like,
No, she be watching.
okay, well, I need her in the
she
chat. You know what I mean? Like, because the chat,
well, she you know what she gonna tell you? She gonna tell you she don't know nothing about this.
Aha.
So she like picks up on stuff from watching it with me, but like she not gonna be in the chat be like, oh yeah, I saw this on 3rd and 4 where Brock Purdy bootleg to the left, and he could have had Brandon Ayuk down the seam, but he checked it. She not gonna do that.
Got you. You were just on it, but I didn't see. I would have shouted.
She just gonna have to pop in and just do a wave.
Okay.
And we'll make sure that she's more active in the chat with just the wave. Breezie, man, this NFL season has been crazy. It's a lot that's been going on. We're gonna talk about the fantasy landscape. One of the things we do here on Thursday, we take a look at the top performers. So please stop me if any one of these players are on your lineup. We're just going to talk about what they've been doing, who's been putting up points in this league.
Well, so everybody's behind in nitty gritty Niners right
now. No, I'm not.
Kick your mind. That's all that matters.
No, you beat me. See, you coming on here trying to be modest, and you beat me.
I did.
You beat me a couple weeks ago, Breezie.
Stop paying attention because I'm like 1-2, like 1-20 or something like that. Yo, the moment Jonathan Taylor got injured, I quit.
It messed everything up. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. That's coming up in one of the segments. We're gonna bring all that up. Let's touch on top performers. So Jalen Hurts was on our top performers list last week. He was our number 2 quarterback. This week he said, bump that. I want to be number 1. He came out against the Tennessee Titans, who have a really good defense. 29 of 39, 380 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also added a rushing touchdown on 5 carries for 12 yards. Total fantasy points, 34.4. He is our top QB of the week. Did you go against Jalen Hurts?
Nope.
Good. Neither did I. Our number 2 quarterback. Okay, there we go. Shout him out when you see him. Joe Burrow, 25 of 31. Yo, he completed 80% of his passes against this Chiefs defense.
His best games are against the Chiefs, bro. I want to know how.
He shows up when the lights are brightest, man. 286 in the air, 2 touchdowns. He also added a rushing touchdown on 11 carries for 46 yards, 30.4 fantasy points this week for Joe Burrow. So you did have Burrow in your lineup.
He was in my lineup.
That is good.
Nope.
A new fan favorite, somebody that we know and love, that we cover on a daily basis. Christian McCaffrey is our top running back. Didn't add too much on the ground, 66 yards on 17 carries. But here's where he does his damage. And we know that he is a dual threat running back. He caught 8 passes on 10 targets for 80 yards and a touchdown. Total PPR fantasy points this week of 28.6. I think Christian McCaffrey has been a surprise. A lot of people talk about him and the injuries and him not being available the past couple of years. But when this guy is healthy and he's on the field, you see how dynamic he can be, which is why he's one of the top 3 running backs drafted every year, because this is what he can do in PPR leagues, catching the ball out of the backfield. Anything you got on CMC?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't draft him once this year because every time I draft Christian McCaffrey, he doesn't make it through fantasy season. So just that one year, I probably should have drafted him. Like, shout out to everybody that picked up CMC because he is the number 1 probably PPR guy in the league. He probably will be for years to come. They're going to utilize him very well in San Francisco. So next year, you're going to want to pick up Christian McCaffrey. Like, I'm just going to tell you that right now. I think he's going to find a way to stay durable, stay healthy. But nope, didn't have him. Did not have him. Didn't go against him either. I got lucky.
Yeah, his ADP is definitely going to rise going into fantasy next season. Our number 2 running back this week is Tony Pollard. 12 carries, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also caught 2 of his 3 targets for 15 yards. Total PPR fantasy points, 24.6. Yeah. Had a solid game against the Colts, man. I mean, the Colts are up and down. They have been up and down. Defense has been struggling. And Dallas took advantage of it, and you saw that with Tony Pollard's production.
Yeah, man, he's been a real one. I think he's their running back 1.
He should be.
He's there too, but he gives you the one production. So they're still
Yes, sir.
going to utilize Ezekiel Elliott because he's the guy they're paying, and they're going to continue to abuse this guy because they ain't paying him yet, right? He hasn't gotten paid. But I talk about fantasy football. He's been a problem all season long.
All season, bro. All season. Moving over to the wide receivers, we got Devontae Adams.
Is he the number one wide receiver in fantasy football?
I gotta check the numbers. He might be. I think no.
Yeah.
If it's not him, it's
Tariq. It's Gritty.
If you talking about total fantasy points,
yeah. Who did you say it was?
I'll pull it up in the. Actually, let me do it now.
Did you say it was Justin Jefferson?
No, it might be Tariq.
Oh, because of PPR. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we go to player stats,
I just know that this guy consistently puts up these numbers.
Nah, bro, you're right.
177 yards. He only gonna get 77 yards against the 49ers, but 177 yards and 2 tutties, bro.
Bro, you're right. So wide receivers, Devontae Adams is 1. Stephon Diggs is 2.
2 Diggs. How do we forget about Diggs?
Jettis is 3 and Tyreek Hill is 4. So total, and let me make sure it's PPR because that might change it. No,
guys,
actually,
big play, Dre, that like button, guys. You hear Melissa in the chat, man. I see you, Melissa. Shout out to you. And we definitely will be praying for your family as well. Johnny Tell, what's going on, baby?
100%. So when I change it to PPR, actually, Stephon Diggs is number 1.
Yeah, he gets those receptions, bro.
So in PPR, total fantasy points this year for Diggs is 271.2. Devontae Adams is right behind him at 268.5. And Diggs is top 5 in the league. So Hurts is 1, Mahomes is 2, Allen is 3, Burrow is 4, then it's Diggs, then it's Adams.
Wow.
But those 2 dudes are top 6 in the total in the league in fantasy points when you add it. When you
see Nick throwing shade. So Nick talking trash. I see you, Nick. All right. So I always don't got to answer the question. So in the nitty-gritty league, I'm trash. I have 0 problems. Listen, did I draft Chase and I had Chase and Jonathan Taylor.
Did you draft Jamar Chase?
Didn't I have Chase? Hold on, I just pull it up. Since we talking fantasy football, he want to talk trash, I'll just pull it up. All I know is,
if you had Chase, why is he not on your roster?
Then I didn't have Chase. I had a receiver that was out, the same that was out at the beginning of the year. Hold on. I'll tell you. You got my roster. I'm just trying to get to it. Who do I have on this roster?
Oh, Keenan Allen. He was out for most of the year. Keenan Allen.
Missed 8-9 games.
Yeah. Yeah, he missed like the whole first half of the season.
Yeah,
we're gonna get to all of that. But yeah, Devontae Adams, 12 targets, 8 receptions, 177 yards and 2 touchdowns, 37.7. He's an absolute monster. It doesn't help that JC Jackson, who the Chargers went out and signed this offseason to stop the guys that like to this, obviously is not playing, the torn ACL. But Adams definitely had a day. And then if we move to our second wide receiver, I think this is a first time mention on this show in our fantasy top performers. Amon-Ra St. Brown. He has been playing consistently. He dealt with minor nagging injuries this year, but he helped me win my fantasy league last year. And he's continuing to add on to, the stellar early career that he's starting. He caught 11 of his 12 targets for 114 yards and 2 touchdowns. Total fantasy points, 34.6. He was somebody who I was trying to snag in kind of those mid rounds because of what he did for me last year. But people were onto him too early, and somebody snatched him up before I could. I was kind of tight about that because I thought that was going to be one of my diamonds in the rough. Because, people still don't trust the Lions. They don't trust Jared Goff. But I was like, nah, I know what Amon-Ra did for me last year. So I'm going to go back. I'm gonna go back to that well again. Unfortunately, people knew where I was going. Moving over to the tight ends. They knew where I was going, bro. Moving over to the tight ends, We got Cade Otton from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He caught 6
Okay.
of his 10 targets, only 28 yards and a touchdown. So we're kind of seeing a drop off from performances from tight ends. So when you start to see guys like Cade Otton, who had 14.8 fantasy points, and the next guy, Greg Dulcich from the Broncos, who had 14.5, we're kind of seeing a drop off early on in the season. Obviously, Travis Kelce was giving us big numbers. Obviously, Mark Andrews was giving us big numbers before he was injured. Kittle had a few solid games here or there, but haven't had a lot of breakout tight end performances. So, towards the tail end of the season, teams are running the ball more, especially some of these outdoor games. It's getting a little bit colder outside, so they want to run the ball more. But tight ends are a huge factor in the league today. So hopefully we can see some more breakout performances. Who's your tight end? Who you got?
In that particular league,
Oh, you got Hawk.
I got TJ, who's been consistent on both teams. He was consistent with the Lions, and he's consistent with the Vikings. So
Yeah, he's definitely going to get his volume of targets.
right.
So Hawk is playing pretty good. Moving over to kickers, we got Greg Zuerlein.
Really?
He made all 5
that
of his
Legatron?
kicks. Legatron at Greg the Leg Zuerlein. He made kicks from 26, 30, 36.
No, nobody. Hey, nobody.
45 and
What about
47.
all about the Benjamins?
That's funny, bro. That's why I should have had you on here early. And then he had a long of 60, and then he made his only extra point.
A 60-yarder.
He made he's still Greg the Leg. I don't know, what happened with him and the Rams. I don't know if it was injuries, contract situation, whatever the case may be, but he's still Greg the Leg. He made a 60-yarder, albeit in the dome. Minnesota's got a really, really nice stadium, so he didn't have any weather elements to worry for. But a 60-yarder, even inside, is not easy. So shout out to Greg Zuerlein. This is probably my favorite segment of fantasy performers.
Okay.
And maybe next year I might try a league where we
individual player,
where you have an individual defensive player, because every week there seems to be a different guy who is at the top of this list. And who would have thought that Tony Fields II would be on the top of this list? I'm sure a lot of people didn't have him in his fantasy lineup, but he had a day against the Texans. 3 solo tackles, 1 assist. He had a pass defense. He had an interception, a fumble forced, a fumble recovered, and that interception he took to the crib for a touchdown. So him by himself had 19.5 fantasy points to lead all individual defenders. He had a day, and I really wasn't going to do this until I started looking at the fantasy data and seeing that they started capturing individual defensive performances. But being a former defensive player myself, I love looking at these stats and seeing these guys just go out there and just have really, really good days of playing football. So this was actually amazing to see from Tony Fields.
I gotta ask you a fantasy football question. I need a defense. I currently have the Jets, but they're playing the Bills.
Oh yeah, no.
I know. I know
It's tough because the only thing is they're at Buffalo, and they played them good last time.
Do I pick up Vegas real quick because they play the Rams tonight? Do I pick up Arizona? Do I pick up the Rams? I don't want to know.
Let's save that for the start sit segment.
Bro, we better get to that segment.
Are you trying to do it now? Let me help you now. So see, I'm glad I went in here and did mine because I needed a defense too.
I just didn't, right, and I would have took that defense you needed.
I picked up Cleveland last week because they were playing Houston, and I've been following a trend.
Smart.
Every defense that's played Houston has put up like 12 plus points. So I was like, if they give me a minimum of 10, 12 points, I'm good. Cleveland got me 30 by themselves.
I want to pick up Kansas City, but
that's who I picked up because Kansas City plays Denver.
Yo.
So I'm glad I did that because you're looking for a defense too. I'm leery of. I always say this. I'm leery of playing teams on Thursday night,
Me
and
too.
particularly defenses. However, I mean, the Rams did play good against Seattle, but that's a division opponent. And I don't know if I don't think Baker's starting tonight. Did we get word that
Yeah,
Baker's
Baker's
starting?
playing tonight, bro. That boy is playing tonight, dog.
Let me see.
Yeah. What about Arizona and New England? It seemed like New England can't score.
And that's
in
Arizona.
Is it? No, I think it's in New England, right? No, it's in Arizona.
That might be a solid one.
I'm just gonna do it, yo.
That might be a solid one.
It sucks. I gotta get rid
I
of this.
wouldn't do Detroit versus Minnesota. I wouldn't do Cleveland versus Cincinnati.
Alfred Thomas, you gotta read. You gotta put this contribution up while you're getting that. I'll get it up ready for us to go. When you're ready, I'll let you go crack at it first.
Delvin Thomas, thank you so much for the contribution. We greatly appreciate it. This question is for both of you guys. Answer with lightning speed, ranch or blue,
Blue
ranch or
cheese.
blue dressing with your wings.
Finish it. It's just a blue cheese. It's blue cheese for me. Some people like ranch. Mose, are you ranch?
I'm neither, bro. Just give me the wings.
Right.
I don't want ranch. I don't want blue cheese. Just give me my wings.
Just give me the wing. Give him the wings. I like the blue cheese right there on the side, and if I choose to dip it in it, I'll go ahead, but never ranch. Never ranch for me. Thank you for the contribution, Delvin.
Appreciate that. And then, as we talked about, we got the Browns defense: 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 3 recovered. They had 2 defensive touchdowns. One was Tony Field's interception return. Another was.
Should I pick their defense up? I know they playing Cincinnati, but it's a divisional game, so it's gonna probably be closer than what we think.
Did they already play? Hold on, let me see. They already played.
How?
That was Monday night. That was the Halloween game. Browns won 32-13. So that might not be a bad pickup.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Bump it. I got to get rid of the Jets.
The only thing is Jamar Chase didn't play.
He didn't play in the game?
No.
All right. My bad, guys. Mose, this is your show. I'm sitting here.
No. This is what we do. We kind of work out who we starting and who we sitting. So yeah, they had
Denver's defense has been good all year, but you won't. I should not pick them up against Kansas City.
Not against Kansas City. Absolutely not.
Damn it.
Absolutely
even though it's a divisional game.
Even though it's a divisional game, because the problem is how Cincinnati was able to beat Kansas City. Kansas City's going to put up points, but Cincinnati was able to hold on to the ball. If Russell and them on the offensive side are not moving the ball, and Kansas City keeps getting chances to possess the ball on offense, no matter how good that defense is playing, Kansas City going to put up points.
Good point.
I would feel more comfortable with the Browns. Just coming off of this game, again, yes, it was the Texans. Cincinnati is a completely different team. But like you said, it is a divisional matchup. Cincinnati going to come in with some type of fire because of how they got beat a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, they could be coming off of a high after beating Kansas City. Yes, they have Kansas City's number, but there could be some, fluctuation in how they perform coming off of that victory. So I would feel more comfortable with the Browns as opposed to the Broncos.
Done deal.
I'm not picking the Broncos for anything. For anything, bro. So let's take a look at some of our fantasy stuff. I got the overlay, so it might cut me off a little bit because I usually just do this when I'm here, but it's all good, bro. So I'm gonna take a look at. It's gonna cut me off a little bit, but it's all good. So this was my last week fantasy matchup. Again, thank you to the Cleveland Browns defense for getting me 30 points. Christian Watson stepping up in a big way versus the Bears. We got 13 from Eckler, 13 from Brian Robinson from the Commanders. We got 10 from Freiermuth. We got 16 from Josh Allen. And we were able to beat our brother Mike from Nothing But Niners. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to our Nothing But Niners family. We were able to beat Mike by 16 points. So for Mose Knows, that catapulted us into 5th place in our league.
I see why Fair talking trash because he in 4th place.
Fair's in 4th
Coach
at
Cruz
8-5.
in 1st place, 10-3. Let me look at Coach Cruz' team. He be cheating. Let me look at
Wait. Change that. Ain't that Tony? Or is that Coach Cruz?
That's Coach Cruz. Tony not in this league.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he's 10-3. He's killing everybody.
Where's my button? Ah, damn, it's not hooked up. How in the world is he 10-5 with Russell Wilson as his quarterback?
10-3, bro. I don't know.
What I mean? 10-3. He about to be 10-5.
Yo, he really got lucky.
Yo, you know
he
why?
Has to.
Here's why. Because y'all silly Mickey Fickies allowed him to draft Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill.
And Miles Sanders, who's been playing lights out.
And D Hopkins.
He probably picked up D Hop later.
Nah, I think he drafted him because this is one of those leagues where there's 90 teams and you better get who you can get. Like
you can get. Yeah, I feel you.
That's why I'm struggling too, y'all. Ain't nobody on the waiver wire. Like my son on the waiver wire, he ain't even make it to the pros yet. Like that's how many people not on the waiver wire.
What's Coach Cruz's first name?
It's right here in the chat.
Is it?
No, it's not. It's Coach Cruz. It's A.
I thought because it says Anthony. That's why I thought it was Tony.
Yeah. Anthony.
Oh, okay.
That's
why I thought it was Tony. Yeah, he's killing everybody. Absolutely killing everybody. With Russell Wilson as his quarterback, you absolutely right. That's foul. Now, Breezie, you sitting at 12.
I'm sitting at the end, but
it was 1 point that you was at 14.
I was 14. I'm climbing.
You was
back
holding
up.
down 14 for a little bit, but now you climbing back up
because my number 1 draft pick, is starting to play football,
right?
And if they had a quarterback, never mind. Yo, I never ever want the first draft pick again, ever.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how did that first draft pick work out for you,
Mose? Are you trying to make jokes at me? That's why your face is hiding. I see what you're doing, man. I got you, bro.
No, I think that the Taylor injury was unfortunate. I also think for you too, just because I have him in one of my other leagues, Justin Herbert hasn't been playing.
He's not the same
as well as we've seen him in the past. Like, every week, he's projected to get 20, 25, 26, 27.
It's not happening.
And he's coming up short. He's getting 16, 18.
But in his defense, Keenan Allen was out for 9 weeks. No Mike Williams.
No, Mike Williams. No consistency at tight end. Nobody outside of Austin Eckler. I don't know. Brandon Staley better be careful. So somebody might be coming for his job. How are you? Let's talk about this. Is the nitty-gritty league. Let's talk about our NGNT family, because right now I am 1-2. So I beat Fair, but I lost to you. And Peachy beat me week 1. Was it?
I think
she beat me week 1.
I don't even know why, except for you. Like I think I'm 5-8 right now, bro. I got 5 wins. One of them was against you. I don't know who I beat.
Yeah, Peachy beat me week 1, and here's why I'm so upset about her beating me week 1.
I remember
she beat me week 1 because she had Michael Thomas, who had an outstanding week 1 and has disappeared ever since.
That dude is retired.
Shout out to our sister Peachy. We love and appreciate you. You know, you are always in our thoughts and prayers. We are, always thinking about you. But she beat me week 1 because of Mike Thomas, who has not done anything since that day.
You on the IR?
Yes.
Yeah.
Same thing with the foot and the toe. So I'm 1-2 against my family. I beat Fair, but I lost to Peachy. I lost to Breezy. Do you know when playoffs start?
Is it next week? Week 14? I don't know. It's that extra week. I gotta check. I don't know off the top of my head, dude. Once my man Taylor went out, man, I just stopped. I just said,
you just was like, man,
I'm just ready to buy the belt.
Just buy the belt and wait till next year.
Yeah, I just need to know what y'all want on the damn belt. That's
well,
it.
Chain Snatchers is 10-3,
That's Coach
and
Cruz, man. Anthony killing.
he's got a 2-game lead over John V.
John
and
being
Vince
second, y'all.
and Vince
Vince is in.
and
And
Fair.
yep, fourth, third. That's the top
So
four. You're
yeah,
top
man.
5 though. You're top 5.
Yeah, I am top 5. Thankfully, I actually beat Can't Get Right and Mike in back-to-back weeks.
I might have to
got me
do
to 7-6.
2 leagues next year, bro, because it can't be more than 12 teams anymore. There's nobody available.
Yeah, I 14 teams did make it tough.
That's
Because like I was struggling to find a running back because Brian Robinson, first of all, this was one of the leagues where I was doing some different things, and based off of conversations that we had prior to the season, shout out to our brother Smitty who came on before the season, helped us do a mock draft. I drafted Breece Hall, and he started cooking for me
until he got hurt,
until he got injured. And then once he got injured, it was like I have Austin Eckler, but he's up and down. And then I had Brian Robinson, but he had the injury from his unfortunate circumstance. So a lot going on there. So 14 teams is definitely much, much more difficult because people just got players stashed in on their bench that they're not using, not doing nothing with. They just don't want nobody else to have them. Like, spread the wealth, share. We supposed to be family.
Can we not talk about fantasy football? I didn't realize my team was this bad. I did not.
All right, then. So let's transition away from fantasy football, bro. Let's talk about this playoff picture because this playoff picture is something that is going to fluctuate for the rest of the season. It's really something that's interesting, especially on the AFC side. Let me just pull this up. Let me make sure I got all my stuff right. Yeah. So I did this a couple of weeks ago. Shout out to Jesse Naylor, had him on the show. And we took a look at the playoff picture. At that time, the Bills were at number 1. The Chiefs were at 2. Ravens were at 3. Titans at 4. And then, other teams filled out. Then when I did this last week, covered it last week before week 13 games, this was how it shook out for the AFC. Kansas City was at 1. The Dolphins had jumped all the way up to number 2. The Ravens and the Titans swapped. Bills dropped all the way down to 5. Bengals were at 6. Jets at 7, right? This was what it was after week 12 games. After week 13's games, look at the difference in the fluctuation in this AFC playoff picture. Everybody shuffled.
Everybody.
Bills jumped from 5 all the way back to 1. Kansas City drops down to 2. The Dolphins go from 2 to 6. The Ravens and Titans swap again. So it was Ravens 3-4, then Titans 3, Ravens 4. Now it's back to Ravens 3, Titans 4. The Bengals are at 5. The Jets stay at 7. And we're covering the bubble teams. You can kind of see one of them. The Patriots and the Chargers are the only 2 close bubble teams that would have an outside shot to battle with the Jets for that number 7 spot. But let's talk about this playoff picture here, man. As you see, there's a lot of fluctuation on this AFC side.
Yeah.
What do you foresee or you think will continue to happen on this side? What are some things that you're looking for and monitoring this AFC picture?
So it looks like the AFC is going to be like what to watch for the remaining, 5 weeks of the NFL because there's going to be more shuffling. All right. So look, I know like the Bills are playing the Jets at home, but the Jets can win. Like they have a defense. They like Mike White. Like they can win that game, and it might be different from the first time they played. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think the Chiefs rolled into another victory, so Chiefs may be 1. If the Bills lose, Chiefs go to 1. Jets probably will move up to 3. I don't know where the Ravens will end up if Lamar Jackson isn't playing, but if they lose, they drop to 7, possibly. And I think I'm surprised the Titans are 4th. That's so crazy. It is what it is. But the Bengals got to beat the Browns. Like this week's matchups, are they all divisional?
A majority of them. That was something that I was looking at. when I was doing my picks video earlier. If you guys aren't familiar with it yet, yeah, you can find me on TikTok, Mose Knows. I put out weekly picks videos, or at least I try to be consistent with it. But let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7 divisional matchups. We got Jets at Bills, Browns at Bengals, Vikings at Lions, Eagles at Giants, Ravens at Steelers, Jaguars at Titans, Chiefs at Broncos. Those are all of the divisional games this week.
Like I said, it's probably gonna shuffle again. It all depends on these outcomes. I mean, I got the Bills beating the Jets. I got the Chiefs beating Denver. I'm not sure who the Dolphins are playing. I got the Bengals
They
beating.
play the Chargers.
They play the Chargers on Sunday Night Football, right? I got them beating the Chargers. I think they bounce back and they beat the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers have the same type of menace to society that the 49ers have on defense. They got
No.
players, but they don't have the same. It's just a different defense. So I think, Tua's going to come out and try to get that ball out of his hand and get the ball down the field more. Ravens are playing. Who the Ravens playing?
Steelers.
Another divisional game. This is crazy.
Another divisional game. The Steelers are trying to figure out and find their way on offense. I think Kenny Pickett is learning on the job and he's growing.
Yeah.
So he's trying to figure out how to use his weapons. And they're a team that understands defense and running game is how they have to win right now. So you have the potential of not having Lamar Jackson. And even as athletic as Tyler Huntley is, he still has to go against that Pittsburgh Steelers defense and TJ Watt. So if Lamar doesn't play, to me, that drastically changes the outcome of this game. And Pittsburgh has an opportunity to win, even if it is to just upset Baltimore and to get them off of that number 1 seed. They definitely have a chance to win that game.
Yeah, and you want to go all out in these divisional games, guys, because regardless what your record is, when you beat the teams in your division, that's bragging rights, right? So yeah, you might not be in the playoffs, you might not make it here, but I whipped your tail. You know what I'm saying? We beat you. And so that carries longer in the long run of the duration of the history of the teams. So the Steelers can beat the Ravens on any day. And if you're talking about Lamar Jackson not playing, who's their backup? Huntley?
Tyler Huntley, yep.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It might be an even game because both quarterbacks are young and new-ish, but I don't know. The Ravens can't run the ball. Steelers have a running game. Steelers defense is back. Now that TJ Watt is back, their defense has gotten better. The Ravens defense, as much as I felt like I've not heard Kyle Hamilton's name all year long.
As for the hype that was around him and for as good as I thought he would be, in some of the things that I've been seeing and hearing, shout out to I had a Ravens insider on the channel at the beginning of the season. His name is Bobby Trossett. He's been playing okay, but for the hype that he got, I thought we would see something really, really special out of Kyle Hamilton. Almost like defensive rookie of the year type conversations.
Correct.
But I think he's had his growing pains coming to the NFL from college. I think in college he can use that 6'4", 220-pound frame and the speed that he has, the ability to fly across the field, to just make plays and just do whatever he wants and kind of freelance. I feel like he's learning at this level. He can't just freelance. He can't just be out there. It's good to fly around, but you have to fly around with a purpose. I think we've seen some of the best safeties in the league when you talk about Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu. If you think about guys in the league now, if you look at a Derwin James, if the 49ers ever wise up and put Jimmy Ward back at his natural position at free safety, even what we've seen from Talanoa Hufanga, flying around is good, but fly around with a purpose. So I think early in his rookie season, and still something that he's working through, is flying around with purpose.
All right.
So that is the AFC picture. The NFC picture is a little bit more concrete. We got the Eagles at 1. They have the
Clear.
best record in the league.
Mhm.
Vikings at 2. Niners at 3. Bucks at 4. There can only be one division winner, so the Cowboys are at 5, even though they have a better record than Tampa Bay. The Giants are at 6, and the Commanders are at 7. So there is a possibility with all of this fluctuation that we could see one division have all 4 of its teams in this playoff picture. But this was after week 12. After week 13, had a little bit of a change. So because the Giants and the Commanders tied, that knocked the Commanders out of the 7th spot and catapulted the Seahawks back to number 7. Everyone else stayed the same. Washington becomes one of the bubble teams. And if you can see,
Detroit is a bubble team, bro.
Detroit is a bubble. Detroit is a bubble team. When you look at the playoff, Eagles,
Wow.
Buccaneers, Cowboys, Giants, Seahawks. The Commanders are right under there at 7-5-1 under the Seahawks. And above the Falcons and the Packers sit the Detroit Lions at 5-7. They are the closest bubble team. Now, it would take a lot. It would take both the Seahawks and the Commanders to lose 3 straight and for them to win 3 straight. But that's the next closest bubble team after the Washington Commanders, the Detroit Lions. So that should tell you the competition on the NFC West side. It's really, really weak. And the same 7 to 8 teams, the 7 teams that we see in the playoff picture now, plus the Commanders, that's who it's going to be. And it's going to be a fight between the Commanders and the Seahawks for the rest of the season to see who gets that 7 spot. I don't think. Let's look at the schedules real quick. I don't know if there's a scenario where Minnesota jumps Philly. They are only 1 game back.
They would remaining win out, and Philly would have to lose. Then they jump to the 1 spot.
So Philly has the Giants, the Bears, the Cowboys, the Saints, and the Giants again.
So they're going to lose one of those to the Giants. I just feel like they'll lose one to the Giants. Whether it's the last game or not, they're going to lose one to the Giants. And remember, the way that this is played, there's no sitting guys anymore, right? Because if you're trying to keep that number 1 spot, you better go out there and play that last game.
You got to play that last game, especially when it's this close.
Especially when it's this close, especially when it's that NFC East and you got Minnesota right on your heels.
So Minnesota has Detroit, Indianapolis, the Giants, the Packers, and the Bears.
The only games they got 3 divisional games, bro.
Yep.
That's not good for them. See a lot of people. We only have 2 left. And so, and I know it sounds easier to say, oh, the Niners, the Seahawks game ain't gonna be easy. And the Cardinals game might not be easy either. They don't want us to win.
No,
they're gonna play us hard, and we're at home, but they're gonna play us hard. They're gonna play us very difficult. I guarantee it. They're gonna come out there flying. We're gonna probably be trying to make sure we stay healthy, whatever. We better jump to a lead early. It's the only way you can pull guys out in football. Same basketball. So that NFC, the North, that's a tough one, bro. Because Minnesota, they gotta beat the Lions. That game's not gonna be easy. Look at where the Lions are. You said they're on the bubble, bro. They're gonna be coming.
Yeah.
They're gonna be humming coming.
Yeah. This Dan Campbell has this team. A lot of people made fun of it, and I will raise my hand every single time. I was one of those people that said, his introductory press conference talking about when we get knocked down, we're gonna bite ankles and kneecaps and everything on the way up. And people are like, what are you talking about? But he's instilling this culture of we got to fight every play, every down, every quarter, every game. We have to fight, and this team is showing that they have that fight in them. I'm hoping for his sake, with the culture that they established, they then can add additional pieces, like the Amon-Ra St. Browns, like the DeAndre Swift, like your guy from Michigan, Aiden Hutchinson. Hopefully they can continue to add those pieces. They got our young boy Kirby Joseph, who's now starting to play well. We both wanted him. So hopefully they can continue to add the right pieces to add to this culture to help them start to really turn it over and win some games. But Dan Campbell has his team playing really, really well. So like you said, it's not going to be a cake game for Minnesota by any stretch of the imagination. They're going to have to come with it.
And it seems like Green Bay's been playing better now that they're like activating this Christian Watson character, which we knew he was going to be a problem. I saw him on your fantasy team. So they're not going to go away. Like teams aren't going to go away. And if they know that they have a shot, that's going to make it even more difficult. That's why I say that the 49ers beating the Buccaneers is important. Then that Seahawks game is even more important. And I hate to say it, that Washington game is going to be important. Like think about what's going down. Because if the 49ers get any luck, let's say they continue to stay hot, and if they get any luck due to the scheduling, I still think the Eagles have the easiest schedule out of all these top teams. But if Minnesota takes a dip down, 49ers, and they continue to trend up, they end up at the number 2 spot. So there's some fluctuation that could go there too, bro. It's crazy. But they got to win. They got to keep the winning mentality.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to take a lot, and we're going to need some luck if we want to get to that number 2 spot. I think getting past the Bucs is obviously the biggest challenge. Is the next one in front of you, right? So, getting past the Bucs is going to be one that's really crucial for us. And then, like you said, with Seattle we only have a 1-game lead on the Seahawks, and we do have the tiebreaker because we beat them the first time. So, like you said, that game against the Seahawks is going to be crucial because if we find a way to lose to Tampa and then somehow lose to Seattle as well, then that catapults them ahead of us, and now we're fighting for that 7th spot. So that's what we want to do. We want to stay comfortable at 3. And if we can nip at the heels of Minnesota for the number 2 spot, then that's what we want to try to do, of course. But it's going to be an exciting run all the way through. It's probably going to be more exciting on the AFC side. We're going to continue to watch and to keep an eye on that and report all those fluctuations in the playoff picture. Breezy, man, I know you've been up, you've been busy. You had your show, the WanyeBreezie show at 11. You were just on with Johnny Dell. I appreciate your time jumping on with me, man. What are you looking forward to coming up in week 14? Give me something outside of the Niners. We'll talk the Niners a little bit briefly, but give me something that you're looking forward to in the NFL for week 14.
All season long, the NFL has been weird, right? It's your good teams were losing. I think it's starting to shape out. We just watched it in these playoff these playoff seating pictures. You're starting to see like the confident, the swag teams with the swag. They're starting to get together. They're starting to come and form and kind of like take shape. So what I'm looking is just like that really good old Sunday football. It's good to be home to where I can sit here and put on, you know what I'm saying, the channel and just watch these scoring plays, watch some football before the Niners play and things like that. The game I'm probably going to be like really tuned into a bunch of the divisional games. A lot like I want to see this Buffalo. I know the Buffalo Jets game is going to be dope. I honestly want to see Robert Saleh beat them. I'm going to be rooting for the Jets. And it's not because I'm a Buffalo hater. It's just I want to see Robert Saleh get one and get some accolades out there in the AFC East, which seems to be a pretty tough division. The weakest team is the New England Patriots. And that's weird to say, but they're the weakest link. As far as the NFC, if I had to pick a game, the Eagles, are they playing the Giants this week? Is that who's the another divisional game? And look, the Eagles are the better team. Like on paper, they are going to be without Robert Quinn, though. So the Giants got to figure out and just find a way to run that ball consistently, and they can probably wear this Eagles defense down. They're going to be down a couple of players, but you got to find a way to stop that guy you was talking about at the very beginning of the show. Jalen Hurts, MVP, maybe MVP runner.
Listen, he's definitely in the MVP conversation because he's proving that he can sling it. He can. This past week he threw for 380 and 3 touchdowns, but then he's also able, to run the ball as well. He's doing it both in the air and on the ground. He has his team with the best record in the NFL, and I think his leadership, although that's not usually something that's incorporated when you talk about the MVP trophy, I think his leadership uh, is what's allowing him to be consistent at what he's doing. I definitely think right now he's the front runner for MVP in the league.
So the question is, can he be stopped? Is he having that Patrick Mahomes type of MVP season? Not in my opinion, but he is electrifying to watch. Jalen Hurts, adding AJ Brown to this offense. How about adding AJ Brown to that offense after they drafted Devontae Smith, who I thought was going to be a stud in the NFL? Like, he was probably better out of all those Alabama receivers that came out before him, the Jerry Judys, the Henry Ruggs. He was the better wide receiver. He's not a slouch, but they're definitely making sure AJ Brown gets his touches, his targets, and he's probably a reason why they're doing so well offensively. You mentioned Miles Sanders. I think that's his name, the running back. I stayed away from him because last year the Eagles had zero identity on how to run the ball, right? So going to fantasy, they didn't know who was going to be their running back. Was it going to be him? Was it going to be Gainwell? Was it going to be some little brother named Bonk? I don't know, but they figured it out, and Miles is playing well. So the Eagles are tough. But the Giants, last time I checked, they should be able to stop and stomp on some birds. So, look, I want the Eagles to lose, but it's weird. I don't want the Giants to win. So, what do we do here? It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, look, I just want the Eagles to lose because I am sick and tired
I know.
of all the Eagles fans where I live at. I had enough of them, and then I'm making my picks, and I want to go against them just to be like I picked against them, but like. Out of 12 times, I was only wrong once.
Ooh. I gotta ask you.
They're 11-1, so
they're 11-1, right? I think we picked I picked one wrong. I don't know what made me bet against the Eagles on that one game when they were undefeated, but I picked one wrong. Hey, let me ask you this question: what's your record overall
for the season?
Picks, yeah.
122.
Oh, you're way better.
71-2.
So what's your percentage? I don't feel like doing it. You're good.
What's that math? I don't know.
I'm 105, 103, 105, and whatever. Wow, Moses killing. And we remember we started off the season because we were just picking wrong, but we started to take shape in the picks.
I don't know what the number is. It's like
I think you just divide it times it by 100, something like that.
Hold on.
Who do you do your picks with? Like just on your own, or I do mine through
picking? I just do them on my own.
Got you. When I check my ESPN stats, I'm not.
So I'm like what 72%, I think. I don't know. That might not be right. But yeah, I'm 122, 71, and then the 2 ties.
So I'm 115, 75. I'm at 77.5%.
Oh yeah, you're not that bad.
Nah.
You 115. You only 7 behind.
Yeah, we've come a long way.
Come a long way.
Beginning of the season, it was like 20.
Yo, but the beginning of the season, that wasn't us. That was just the NFL just had like a brain fart and like teams forgot what they were supposed to be doing. That wasn't on us.
I got
that's on the NFL. That's on the NFL. All right, Breezie. Before we get out of here, gotta talk Niners. That's what we do.
That's what we do.
Give me one thing that the Niners need to do to make sure that we leave Sunday's game with a W.
Oh man, just one thing, just not turn the ball over. I don't think you want to turn the ball over and give Tom Brady, the guy that he has 3 turnovers this year, guys, 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He doesn't turn the ball over. I think that's my point. And you don't want to keep giving him opportunities. If we happen to fumble the ball, make sure we get it back, which I don't think that's what we're going to do. So you don't want to turn the ball over and you want to win the turnover battle. So that's my 1A and my 1B, right? Because they kind of go hand in hand. You see that the defense is just ferocious. Will they get any turnovers against a person that doesn't turn over the ball? I tell you what, I don't know if Tom Brady will shoot an interception, but this might be the game where he gets 2 interceptions, and we might be forcing somebody to fumble the rock. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So don't turn the ball over and win the turnover battle. I know that's cliche. I know that's corny, but for Brock Purdy, a third string quarterback, that's huge. He can't turn this ball over. And I know that fourth down throw down the field was whatever. At the end of the day, it's an interception, and he didn't have to do that, right? You don't want that time stamped in his head, but let's see if he overcomes it because you want Brock being able to understand and locate the man coverage, which is what that was, right? But if the ball wasn't underthrown, it was a reception. If you look at it, Brandon Ayuk had to stop, turn, and try to still go get it. Just imagine if he could have just jumped up and just caught it in stride. So things to learn from. Don't turn the ball over though. That's where I am.
I feel you. Our family member GSU for life says the 49ers need to run the dang ball. I don't know if I trust our offensive line, particularly that interior.
They're just not good. It comes down to the center
with Jake Brindle going up against Vita Vea.
Yeah.
So I think Kyle needs to pick and choose his spots. My one thing for this Niners game has to do with the quarterback that you mentioned, has to do with Brock Purdy, but more with Kyle Shanahan. Obviously, Kyle needed to do what he had to do, going against that zero blitz and, trying to take advantage of it, passing the ball. I think this year we've seen more emphasis on the pass. I don't want Kyle to get too overzealous and put too much on Brock Purdy's plate too soon, but I also don't want him to limit Brock and not allow him to play the style of football that he's accustomed to. So for me, my one thing is Kyle Shanahan, please be balanced in how you roll out Brock Purdy. Don't give him too much, but don't suffocate him with the micromanaging and trying to limit what you want him to do because of his lack of experience. He came in on very, very short notice and did what he needed to do to get you a win against a really, really quality opponent that tried to take advantage of the fact that we have poor offensive line play and that he's a rookie quarterback playing in his first legitimate NFL game.
This will be his first start too, by the way.
Right. This will be his first start. Everybody's making a big deal. Brock Purdy, your very first start. You're looking across the field at Tom Brady. Personally, I don't think Brock cares about that. Maybe he'll shake his hand at the end of the game. It's awesome to meet you. So good to play against you. I don't think Brock is worried about, I'm playing against Tom Brady. No, he has to focus on that Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. So for me, Kyle, be balanced. Don't give him too much, but don't suffocate him with the micromanaging and try to limit what he does. Let him play football. I think one of the things that we saw, especially against the Dolphins in that zero blitz, we saw that he was poised. We saw that, he was under control. He wasn't flustered by the blitz. He was able to make plays. He was able to roll out and get out of the pocket. So he's a gamer. Everybody is talking about who he was recruited by, and he had a chance to go play at Alabama for Nick Saban. He doesn't take garbage. So he chose to go to Iowa State, but he's a gamer. Let him game. Let him do what he does best. And I think ultimately, with the weapons that we have and the defense that we have, we will be successful. Breezie, we up on an hour, man.
Yeah, good times. Hey, I just wanted to touch on that too, man. Look, and I see GSU for life put this in there. I've been a fan of Kyle Shanahan when he's comfortable in allowing his quarterbacks to throw the screens, the swings, the quick throws. And that's the one thing I think Brock Purdy is extra comfortable with throwing, and they were pretty accurate. I mean, his swing throws were pretty accurate. A couple were over the guys' heads, but they were pretty accurate. You saw the swing to Deebo Samuel. You saw the screen to McCaffrey. You saw the toss to this guy can do some of those things. So if we can't run the ball, we can extend the run by doing some of that West Coast stuff, which my man pointed out. So it's gonna be really cool to watch and to see if Kyle gives him the game plan. Is it going to be the suffocated game plan where you got to learn the 875-page playbook? or is it going to be a 5-page playbook? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I agree with you on that one, bro.
Yeah, man. So we'll just have to see how that game plan rolls out. Ultimately, I think it's going to be a dub for our Niners. I'm taking our Niners over everybody. Breezie, bro,
Yeah.
I love you. You know
Love
that.
to
I
see, man.
appreciate you so much. Thank you for jumping on here, talking some football with me.
Yes, sir.
Listen, love and appreciate everybody for tuning in. You're already here. Like, comment, subscribe, become a part of the Mose Knows fam. Listen, once you're family, I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. You can follow me on Twitter and IG. I simplified the account. What Mose Knows. No more dots, no more underscores. All one word. WhatMoseknows. And then, like I said, on TikTok, after I jump off of here, I'm going to just make my quick edits and throw that video up. It'll be my picks for the week. Give me a follow over on TikTok. Love and appreciate everybody. And we'll catch y'all next week. Peace.